Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another rainy EECS 440 day, okay? Not a ton of you here, no surprise. It was quite a cold, rainy walk in today. But for those of you watching at home, it's good to see you virtually. And we've got some cool things to talk about today, okay? If you look at where we are not that far away from our showcase, okay? We sent your first feedback on Tuesday, midday. You got your grades back for that first submission on your P3 final project. And so make sure you watch those videos, as it will explain the grade that you got, and it will also make some recommendations for the future. You want to know what to work on. You want to know where to go, what things to be thinking about, what problems to solve. Getting feedback from your instructors, but also getting feedback from those Monday playtesting sessions is going to help you figure out where to go, all right, and what to do. We'll talk more about the act of playtesting relatively soon. Today, what I'd like to talk to you about is one of my favorite lectures in the course. It's a talk on XR at the intersection of business, okay? How do you build a startup that is going to get people excited? How do you recognize when a business is doing things to create an ecosystem, okay? What are value chains, and why do they explain how businesses work? That kind of stuff, all right? Before we do that, I've got a quick company I want to show you. This one very fast, this one very local. This is a company called Vectorform, and they are another one of those local companies that is kind of a consulting house. This is a company who will build any sort of technology that you need, okay? If you are a company like Jeep and you don't really have an internal XR team, then this is a company, Vectorform, that you can hire to build it for you, okay? You can kind of think of them as a mercenary team. If Ford or Rivian or MailChimp needs something custom, but they don't have the expertise in-house to do it, they can go do it by hiring Vectorform, okay? Usually they pay a premium for this, but overall, they often save money by outsourcing some of that stuff, okay? This is a company that at least they used to have cool projects listed on their portfolio. It looks like this has changed quite a bit. Hey, you can keep talking just a little bit quieter. Good. Yep. Okay. So I'm not sure if they still have the cool VR and AR demonstrations that they used to have, but this is a company that has done it all. They've done VR and AR work. They have, it looks like they have done VR simulation work, education work to improve law enforcement agency education. Okay, law enforcement, very difficult job, very dangerous, risky job for the public and for the officers. So how can we train them, put them in dangerous situations without actually putting them in dangerous situations, which we want to do as little as possible, right? So another really cool company that does some interesting things, right? They say 5 VR scenarios that they built, 4 times faster learning, 275% more confident. I have no idea what like the unit of confidence is, but I'd really like to see their white paper or their methodology be written up in a bit more of a research paper format. But right, we got some screenshots here. Okay, so what happens if someone pulls a knife, right? What do you do? This pose is not what I would expect, but I imagine it's not that important in the actual training itself. You get results from that training. You can kind of track people's progress over time, and you can do a lot of interesting stuff like that. In any case, if you go to work at a consulting technology firm like Vectorform, you are going to enjoy being able to work on many different things and kind of expand your horizons and wear many different hats. So as many of you are looking to graduate or looking to maybe go to grad school, you should know about firms like this that will give you a lot of different flavors, okay? Depending on what needs to be done that month, depending on what personnel you have. So keep that stuff in mind. Okay, I have kind of a fun video for you. This is a series called Honest Ads VR. It is an especially cynical series that often takes something that has a lot of hype or a lot of cool technology, and it basically twists it and shows you, what are its flaws. If someone were being too honest about what they're doing, what would they say? So let's go ahead and take a look. This is Honest Advertising Virtual Reality.
When I first invented the internet, it was all text-based and very difficult to steal user data. Then with the rise of smartphones and faster speeds, everything became video-based and stealing data was much, much easier. But it's still not enough. Hi, my name is Roger Horton, and today I want to talk to you about the Rogerverse. A world where anything is possible, where dreams become reality, where I will become your God and you my pathetic digital subjects. Confused? It's better if I just show you. Strap on this skin-irritating, headache-inducing, heavy face box straight out of a cyberpunk chiropractor's wet dreams. Hurry, hurry, hurry! This smartphone duct taped to a Viewmaster becomes unusable if we drop an update or release a new iteration of this technology that becomes outdated every few months. It's not like we do backwards compatibility. Now, let's free you from that moist, pendulous meat prison and escape this corporeal plane.
Hey. Whoa!
Welcome to the future of the internet, where the only limits are those imposed by your weak imagination and your credit card company.
Oh man, this is like a video game. Can I play?
First things first, you can't enter my magical computer world without first creating an account for our social media platform that's actively destabilizing the world's governments.
I don't even use social media.
Look, we can't track everything you do unless you sign this, okay? So just do it, and you can get to playing. Great. Now, what kind of hero would you be without some sort of pricey digital weapon?
That seems a little expensive.
Well, you can always go back to the real world where you have zero swords. Here come the ninjas.
So I think it's important that we don't get too cynical, right? A lot of these pieces of media, they're very funny. They're aimed at criticizing the technologies we love, the hype cycles that we endure. But videos like this are pointing out a lot of real problems that people have, in this case with VR. And so if you are working in the VR and AR space, it really does behoove you to engage with at least a little bit of media like this so they can understand what problems you need to be working on and trying to address, okay? You can watch the rest of it if you want. It is pretty funny stuff. I want to show you another thing. We talk about the hype cycle. When we are working on a new technology, one of the most damaging things we can do for that technology long-term is overhype it or oversell it, okay? There's new technology out there. It can help people. But if we sell it as a panacea, right, something that is going to save the world, solve world hunger, do your homework, and bring us to Mars all in one go, all in one tech, then the dishonesty of that is going to start to affect the adoption and the respect and the image of the tech itself, okay? I want to show you another kind of comedic, somewhat cynical video that is is kind of referencing how new technologies tend to be advertised and how they kind of do this in a bit of a dishonest way. Let's take a look. Let's discover Blinder.
A singular new design, a re-engineered system, and the finest material. This is Blinder 2.0. The horizontal slats are precision machined from high-grade mahogany, and the aerofoil shape minimizes drag to allow for smoother rotations of the slats. The new Blinder 2.0 combines the fundamental qualities of luxury window treatment with revolutionary machine learning technology. The world's favourite blinds just got better, as it now comes in 4 finishes: ivory white, eggshell white, Navajo white, and off-white white. The tilt wand has also been completely redesigned to maximise its durability and to allow for a new level of precision. All this and more make the Blinder 2.0 the most premium window blind ever.
Hi, I'm Eric White, founder and CEO of Blinder, and I'm here to talk about something very exciting for the company. As you saw, we just launched our new series of window blinds, and that's just the beginning. Because not only is the Blinder 2.0 the most innovative window blind ever, it is also saving the Earth. Blinder's commitment to the environment spans everything we do, and that includes our window blinds themselves. Beginning last year, our made wood slats are made with 100% recycled wood. And for Blinder 2.0, we're using 100% recycled quartz as well. Actually, we're doing something even better. We know that our customers have been accumulating lift quartz because they have to replace our blinds for every software update we push. So this year, we are removing the lift quartz from your window blinds. We have much to share in the coming years, and I'm proud to announce that by 2030, Blinder will be 100% carbon neutral. Back to me, where I'll be talking about the company's vision. What is Blinder? Excellent question. Blinder isn't just another unicorn startup, though we are valued way beyond $1 billion, making me the youngest entrepreneur on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. But none of that matters. Blinder isn't just about window blinds and industry-leading software. Blinder is about people. Blinder is about trust, security, and privacy that make a difference, transforming the world as we know it, making the world a safer place through AI-enabled retarding optimization and precise click-through attribution. I firmly believe we can only achieve greatness if we first achieve goodness.
Okay, right? So, a fun, again, fairly cynical little video that is poking fun at how technology can become overhyped, right? People move to Silicon Valley. Their intention is to change the world. They're very idealistic. But that attitude, right, it can be overhyped. It can be used to present technology as something it can't be, okay? A Blinder product is not going to save the planet, no matter how recyclable it is. When you see technology leaders and figures trying to sell their products as being something they aren't, the entire scene, the idea of the tech bro, takes form. Eventually, people start to distrust technology, and it's not a good thing for anyone, okay? So both of these videos get to a larger point of this entire course, that when you are dealing with technology, especially new technology, honesty is at a premium. It is rare, okay? And so please do not overstate these bleeding edge technologies that you end up working with. They are good for many things, but they're not good for everything, all right? And so we can rebuild trust if we do this right. A quick note, I think I saw a post not too long ago, if it comes up, but we have is it on here? Oh, is it not on here? Oh, bummer. Well, I'll have to post it a bit later, but basically there are technologies out here now these days that apply some of the advancements in LLM and image generation to the third dimension, creating environments from scratch, creating games from scratch with just prompts. Now, like image generation, it is impressive stuff, but very hard to get the specifics right, okay? So I would not personally be too nervous if any of you are artists about losing your job today. But these technological advancements are something you really want to keep your eye on, okay? I'll see if I can do a quick Google search. 3D world generation, or let's do this, 3D model generation LLM, right? Blah, 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 blah. Llama Mesh, okay, by NVIDIA. So using Facebook's Llama technology to generate 3D objects, okay. We can see some stuff in the paper here, generating kind of a Minecraft character. Do we have anything cool in the video? Let's see if we do. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Show us the output. Here we go.
You can see a comparison of generations with other strong mesh generation models. Llama mesh generations are important.
So you can kind of see what the prompt is, I think, down here, right? So give me a polygonal model of a small bridge. Unique 3D gives us this kind of weird archway. It's kind of like a very nature-based bridge. We've got this Mesh XL is giving us this strange like playground feeling table. And Llama Mesh actually gives us what looks like a half-decent wooden bridge, okay? I think, I don't know how Stephanie and the VizStudio team would feel about the topologies on this, on these all these models, but it's out there, it's improving every day, and you might discover that your role as a 3D artist or an XR developer is not just creating models by hand, but starting from some LLM results to give you a speed boost, and then editing them and molding them into what you need via a combination of LLM skills, but also underlying modeling skills, okay? Okay, cool. So kind of neat stuff. The final thing that I'll tell you is good news for anyone who is interested in the EECS 298 3D Technical Art and Animation course. The capacity was 40, and we just bumped it to 80, okay? So if you're worried about getting into that course, we want to make sure if you want in, you can get in. And there's very likely you can get in now, okay? It raises the stakes for me. I'll probably lose the rest of my hair this summer as I try and figure out how to grade a course with 80 artists producing 80 models per day in addition to other assignments, because I do not know how to auto-grade that kind of thing. All right. Unlike the game engine architecture course, we're probably not going to be writing an autograder for the EECS 298 course. So we'll see what happens. But in any case, we're going to have a lot of people on this campus within a year or two who know Blender pretty darn well. I expect the general level of artistic quality and aesthetic quality in games and XR applications to go way up as this course launches. Okay. So any questions or comments on any of that? All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about actually one of my favorite topics, a very interesting topic, the question of why do big companies do the strange things that they seem to do? Sometimes companies make decisions that seem weird or dumb or that we're always doomed to fail. But companies and big institutions in general tend to work in a few very common but unique ways. And that is something that can be very predictive if you know how they work, okay? So I want to talk about XR business and what drives the two in our modern era, okay? Right here, if you recall, is one of my good friends, Craig Albert, one of the genuine entrepreneurs and tech guys in the city. If there's a cool new technology, he is very deep in it. And he was actually the person who first introduced me to VR way back in about 2012, 2013. Okay? This is his company right here. It's called Dreamgate VR. And they can be found in the Briarwood Mall. At least they used to be able to be found there. And the idea was that they would build a game in Unreal Engine, a multiplayer online 4-player cooperative game, and you would run around in VR in a shared space. Usually, that is a big safety issue. Because if someone is in VR, they can't see their friends. And if they're running around in a space with their friends, they're going to run into each other, hurt each other quite badly. But all of these little laptops that are in a backpack that you wear, all of them are connected to the same multiplayer server, and the physical space is calibrated with the digital space to be the same size, and so you do not run into your friends because you see them in the digital world in the same way you would in the physical world if you took your headset off, okay? Super impressive stuff. I'm going to talk to you about their business model in just a bit. Back in the day, you had gigantic gaming companies that are still well-known today. Capcom, well-known today for their Monster Hunter series. Back in the day, they used to be known for Mega Man. They used to be known for games like Resident Evil. Konami, another big game. These days, they actually spend most of their time making pachinko gambling machines. They used to be super well-known for series like the Metal Gear Solid series. Okay? And can you guess how valuable these companies are today? They're still kind of doing this stuff. They make games. That's pretty much all they do. How valuable is that? Well, you might say, well, they're going to be many billions of dollars. And I would say, yes, a couple billion, okay? Capcom, despite being such a famous name on college campuses, is a $7.5 billion company. So they're not hitting double-digit billions, okay? Konami, a little bit less, $6.25 billion as of 2022, okay? And I want to ask you, are there bigger companies out there? There certainly are. I want to show you two more gaming companies. Roblox, which actually takes a lot of my students, by the way, and Fortnite, okay? This is actually Epic Games. They're the creators of the Unreal Engine. But these days, the Unreal Engine is peanuts for Epic. They make much of their money through Fortnite, one game. One game, by the way, that was initially a flop, a failure, until PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds came out, and they were able to pivot Fortnite to do the Battle Royale genre, and they took over. Okay? All right, how valuable are these two companies? We had Capcom at around $7 billion, Konami at about $6 billion. Okay, all they do is make games. These companies are a bit different. Okay, these companies, they kind of make games, but you tend to think of them less as a product and more as a platform, right? Roblox is not one particular game or 10 games that they make per year. No, this is a platform in which other people can create gigantic numbers of games. And the people creating those games can get paid to make those games. When the creators make money, Roblox takes a tax, okay? It takes 70% of their revenue. Crazy. Fortnite, okay? Did you know that Fortnite has its own creative mode? You can build entire games not in Unity, not in Unreal, but in Fortnite itself. And you can sell to Fortnite users, and Epic will take a tax, okay, from all of your earnings. How valuable are these companies? These aren't product companies so much as they are platform companies. What would you guess? Just throw me a number. Capcom at $7 billion, Konami at $6 billion. What do you got? Are these bigger, smaller? What do you think? Yes? $100 billion? I think that's a little bit high, but you're not super far off. Okay, Roblox, not $7 billion, but $27 billion. Okay, several times larger. Fortnite, $32 billion, and this is a private company. Tim Sweeney is a very happy man. Okay, A lot of that 32 billion belongs directly to him. And so here we have the old way of doing business. These companies are still around. They mainly make games. The only thing they can really do, though, is release product after product after product and hope their IPs, their characters get popular. Maybe they can make a film. But these companies, and what a lot of businesses want today, is to be platforms, not products. They want other people to build products atop their technology, atop their platform, okay? And their market valuations reflect what is more valuable, what is more important, okay? At least more important to investors. And this really is a very big change. You see, the times are changing, okay? I'll give you an example, another example, okay? A phenomena that you might love or hate, all right? Back in the day, if you opened up a box of loot, okay, a big treasure chest, you would usually do it at the end of a tough dungeon. And it would give you an item that you could use in the next dungeon to get further in the game. Thus, you'd be learning about all these tools and weapons, and the entire game would be very cohesive. All right, it looked like this. Nowadays, if you are looking for boxes of loot, okay, if you're looking to celebrate an accomplishment in a game, chances are you're not going to see this. You're going to see something like this.
Hey guys, it's Bro You Back, and welcome to what is going to be the second biggest loot box opening video and the biggest loot box opening video that I paid for. Because I not only paid for 100 loot boxes, but we got 20 loot boxes gifted to us by Jeff Kaplan himself. He realized, alright, Zach, I see you. You've given me enough, so now I'm here to give you something that you desperately need, which is virtual skins for UI boots, and I could not be any more happier. So, it's not even 120, it's 121 because we got a free loot box. So, let's get opening. All the because I don't have any of the skins, or really any skins at all on PC, and we don't even begin with any kind of skins. I mean, we get what? Winston, Ferris? No full hearts, no nothing. So we have the 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 2020 December Games items in these 121 loot boxes. So we got a lot to get through.
So you can see the experience over time has become quite different. If you heard in the beginning of the video, these are not necessarily earned. You can actually purchase these. You spend additional money after buying the game, and you get these boxes, okay? You can also get these boxes by playing the game, but you tend to get them very slowly. So there's a very strong incentive for you to pay more money to the game's developer so that you can unlock new skins. Things that you used to get just by playing the game and playing it very effectively, okay? Loot boxes. These are a huge problem slash, not necessarily problem, but a huge flashpoint in the world of games and digital environments, okay? Loot boxes. They are little rewards that you can either earn or you can pay for them to unlock things in the game. In a game like Overwatch, you can unlock skins, tags, voice clips, stuff like that. But they also show up in a very similar form in games like Star Wars Battlefront, okay? And if you ask, well, what are these for? If you asked EA, what they would tell you is that they're meant to be, let's see here, provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Okay? The idea is you play the game a ton and you unlock loot boxes, and sometimes you get a new character that you can play as. That's great, right? Well, this right here is actually the most downvoted Reddit post in the site's entire history. It has negative 674,000 downvotes. Okay, that's pretty bad. And why would this be the case? Well, EA made it very difficult to earn loot boxes to the point where if you bought this game for $70, well, guess what? You can't play as Darth Vader. You can't play as Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia. Sorry, unless you buy a bunch of loot boxes and unlock them. So right? This isn't meant to provide people with a sense of pride and accomplishment. This is just meant to squeeze people's wallets a little bit more, okay? Which leads to a lot of backlash when it's balanced that cruelly, okay? So you know what loot boxes are, but what's more important to us is why did they appear? This is kind of a modern thing, all right? This didn't used to exist, at least not in this form. Why are microtransactions, loot boxes, so common? In the 90s, in the 2000s, in the 2010s, you know what you did? You bought a game once for $40 to $60. You play the game as much as you want. When you want the next game, you buy the next game. That was it, really. It's a very simple transaction. Now, things are not so simple. And I want to plant a seed in your head, okay? We're going to have two categories of software, okay? Over here, we've got software like Overwatch. Has anyone played it? Heard of it? Yeah? We have Shadow of War, Warner Brothers. Now, by the way, this company was just shut down, the company that made this. Very sad. Monolith. They used to be a very prolific horror game developer, and now they are finding themselves in a grave, sadly. So, and EA's Star Wars Battlefront. Over here, we have Sea of Thieves, okay, made by Microsoft. We have Horizon Zero Dawn by Sony, and we have Super Mario Odyssey by Nintendo. And the games, the software on the left, have a lot of loot boxes, microtransactions, lots of ways to spend money after you've bought the initial game. On the right, we have the traditional model. You buy the game for $60, that's it. Not much in the way of microtransactions, no loot boxes, okay? And the question for you, all these are modern games. Why do some games feel the need to complicate their business relationship with the user, while other games stick with that more traditional model? There is a very poignant reason why some companies do this and some do not, okay? Does anyone know what this is right here? What is it? Steam, right? You've got it right there on these machines in front of you. I think you do. This is Valve Corporation's gigantic, basically computer game distribution platform. Absolutely famous, okay? And it basically took over the world. If you want to get a computer game today, you're probably going to get it through Steam. But I have another question for you. You know what Steam is? Do you know what this is? Has anyone seen this before? What is it?
It's Origin, right?
It's Origin. Origin, which was Electronic Arts' rival to Steam. EA pulled all of their games off Steam. They were making a ton of money, but Valve was also making money. Valve was taking 30%, okay? And so EA said, enough of that. I'm going to pull all of our games off Steam. I'm going to make my own Steam. Why would they decide to do this? And why did it fail? Okay? Well, we want to find this stuff out, okay? These questions, why did loot boxes appear? Why did EA create Origin? Why is GameStop doomed in the long term if they don't change things? All of these business questions can be answered with just a couple very simple tools. We call the ecosystem map and the value chain, okay? And these are things, no matter if you're an engineer or an artist or whatever, these are things you should have in the back of your mind. They explain why businesses and why big organizations and the people in them do the things that they do. All right. Some of this material in this lecture comes from Dr. Aaron Crum and his spectacular entrepreneurship courses in the Center for Entrepreneurship. If you are looking to take a course that is kind of not super heavy, but has some really interesting business and entrepreneurial material, definitely look up Dr. Aaron Crum and take some of his courses. Really, really cool guy. Fantastic guy. Ecosystem map. Okay, does anyone know what this is? Does anyone have one of these? What is this thing? I'll tell you what, I'm going to be using a super big version of this tonight. You know why? Because I have to print 50 exams. And do you know how long my exam is for game engine architecture? If I say this, none of you are going to want to take the course. I'm going to say it, okay? Jacob, how long is it? You see how long it was?
I think it's, what, like 50 pages or something like that?
No, not 50, 26. 26 pages long, okay? That sounds like a lot. It's actually not that long, and you have plenty of time to do it. It just, for game engine architecture, we have to supply you with a bunch of source codes and stuff so you can understand the context of the problems. But this is a printer. And my goodness, if you think about what this device can do, it really is amazing, okay? This device is capable of scanning an image that you send into it and reproducing it, getting that image into the digital world. But it's also capable of taking digital information and printing that out into the physical world. It has Wi-Fi. It has a touch screen, okay? It's impressive. Inside of this are a bunch of very finely tuned actuators that can make a very precise image print, okay? You know how expensive 3D printers are? They're thousands of dollars. How expensive do you think an impressive machine like this must be? This has to be like at least $700, right? Right? How expensive is it?
It's cheap, but the ink value.
It's cheap, but the ink, okay, we're going to talk about the ink in just a sec. You're right, okay? Look at this. $100 for such an advanced piece of machinery. Incredible, okay? The company is so generous, right? How can they afford to stay in business when they're selling this impressive, expensive hardware for this cheap? And we already said it, right? There's another element to this ecosystem. The printer ecosystem is one of the most infamous in all of history, okay? It drives people up a wall. It lures you in with a very cheap, accessible hardware price, only to hit you with the ink. Black and white simple ink cartridge is going to run you $35. Is this ink made of unicorn blood? How expensive do you think it actually is to produce the ink in that $35 box? How much does the company pay to manufacture that ink? Tell me right now. What do you think? And I'll give you a hint. The box that the ink comes in is more expensive to manufacture than the ink inside of it. What do you think? What do you got? $5? How about 5 cents? This ink is dirt cheap, okay? They can prepare it in gigantic quantities, and the materials inside are not rare, they're not expensive, and yet they're going to charge $35 per box. And you know the really amazing thing about ink? If you don't use the ink, what happens? Does it stay around forever? What happens to ink? It dries out, which means as soon as you can sell a printer to someone, you're going to get $35, almost guaranteed, every couple months. And by the way, if you need to buy color ink, oh no, you're talking $70. Almost the price of the initial hardware for some colored ink. Ridiculous. When you see crazy things like this, there is something more at play. And what we have at play here is an example of a powerful, and I would actually say abusive, ecosystem. Okay? An ecosystem. An ecosystem map is one of the most essential tools in your kind of business arsenal. Okay? It helps you understand how a business makes money and all the different ways a user can kind of get trapped in it. All right? Ecosystem map. Here's what you do. You simply draw a product, usually an introductory product, in the center of a circle, okay, in the center of a map. In this case, the hardware. Epson Workforce, okay? You have the hardware, all right, that costs $99. This is one way that the user trades value with the company. But there are other ways, because this right here will not pay and keep the ecosystem viable. It's not enough money. $99 is too cheap. Okay? So what do? They have the ink, all right? Ink, this is 30 to 60 additional dollars, and it's not just a one-off. This is every 3 months because that ink is going to dry, okay? And these two things together is what makes the entire ecosystem viable, okay? Are there any other ways that Epson could trade value with you? Well, when it comes to printers, I can't think of that many. But what if we were thinking about a different ecosystem, okay? What if we were thinking about this one? How many of you have a device like this? Okay, every one of you, probably. What I want to do, whether it is for Apple or Huawei or Sony or Google, whoever is the manufacturer, the designer, the owner of the phone in your pocket, I want you to do an ecosystem map for them, okay? We're just going to take a couple minutes, and what I want you to do is I want you to put your phone in the middle of an ecosystem map, and I want you to think about all the ways that you can trade value with that company, okay? You pay them money, they give you something, a service, a product, whatever, okay? And I'll get you started, all right? This iPhone 8, okay, this is actually not an iPhone 8, but when it came out, the iPhone 8 was about $820, okay? So Apple collects $820 from the hardware handover. That's a good margin. What other ways does Apple have, or Google, or whoever made your phone, what ways do they have to trade value with you and make money? I'm going to give you, I think, probably 60 seconds to think about it, okay? Because there are a lot of ways. I'll see you in 60 seconds. Okay, everyone, your ecosystem map for your smartphone. Beyond the initial hardware purchase, what ways does the company have to trade value with you? What other ways do they have to make money? Yes?
I saw you iCloud storage subscription-based.
iCloud storage. That's right. Oh, are you running low on your local hard disk? Do you want to make sure those photos of grandma are going to be safe if you drop your device down the drain, right? Well, why not back it all up to the cloud, iCloud? And hey, we'll give you 50 gigabytes of iCloud storage for just $1 a month. Not too bad, right? And how many people use iCloud? Quite a few. At $1 a month, that could be millions of free dollars, more or less free. Okay, storage is cheap. Good, very good. What other ways can your mobile phone company make money? Yes?
Gouging you on every single repair.
Gouging, repairs, right? Repairs, oh my goodness. Did you drop your phone? You got a crack on your screen? Well, that's a shame. Hey, but guess what? bring it into our repair center and we can repair the screen, it's only going to cost you a few $100s. Now, in reality, the screen probably cost them like, what, 20, 30, and then the labor costs them a bit, but the margins are going to be huge for them on that repair. Or if you're worried about your clumsy dropping of the smartphone, what could you buy? Apple Care, insurance for your phone. Hey, don't buy it from Progressive or Farmers or Geico. Don't buy the insurance from them. We're Apple. You can buy it from us, right? We know our device better, okay? We're integrated better, right? Fantastic. Insurance. Those are really good. Students usually don't bring those up. Good job. What else? What other ways can Apple or Google or Huawei or OnePlus make some dough? Yes? The App Store. Oh my goodness, the App Store. The App Store. How expensive is it to put your application on the App Store? Does anyone know? $100 a year. As a developer creating meaningful software for Apple's ecosystem, you pay the privilege to be able to do that. You have to pay $100, okay? Now, normally people beg you to make software for their platform, but Apple says, no way. You're going to pay us to be on our platform, okay? That's some serious power, okay? And then, if you spend money in an application on your iPhone, the developer gets how much of that money? Say you spend $10. You bought a skin in your favorite mobile game. You bought a loot box. You pay $10. How much does the developer get? Anyone know? The developer gets 70%. Apple takes 30% of every transaction, okay, that happens on their app store. Incredible. Okay, Apple is taxing people harder than most world governments do. Incredible. So, what else? What else? Are there any other ways that a phone company can make some dough, trade value with you? Any others? Did a pretty good job, pretty good job. Okay, here's some others, all right? You got the first big one, iCloud, okay? And they had a ton of users. I think they had over 1 billion users in their report that I read. I can't remember what quarter it was for, but the App Store generated about $21 billion in that year for Apple. That's a nice chunk of change. What about Apple Music? You want to listen to music? You can listen to all the music you want, $10 per month. And Apple had quite a few users, so that ends up being quite a nice chunk of change. What about this one? We keep talking about money, but we actually care about how does a company trade value. And you know what's really valuable? Free marketing, okay? When you buy an Apple product, Apple wants you to feel like you're joining a club, right? And they want you to let everyone else know that you're not a PC anymore, you're a Mac, okay? What are they going to do? They're going to send you some Apple stickers, which you'll put on your laptop, you'll put it on your fridge, you'll put it on your car, okay? And you're doing free advertising for this trillion-dollar company when you do that, okay? We already said it, but if you want to release your software on Apple's platform, you have to pay Apple $99 forever per year, okay? You know what's really great, though? When you've got an iPhone, it really makes you want to get what? You got an iPhone, you go get an Apple Watch, all right? And by the way, if you want to switch to Android later, it's going to be a problem. You're going to have to give up your Apple Watch because the Apple Watch does not work with Android, okay? Lock in. What's really cool is that the Apple Watch also has its own hardware and app store, its own ecosystem, multiple ecosystems leading together, okay? Now, when you get an iPhone and an Apple Watch, what does that make you want to buy next? Because they work really well with what? Are you going to go buy that Windows laptop? You're going to buy a Mac, or maybe a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, right? Of course, right? And those products have their own ecosystems and their own app stores as well, okay? You see, when you buy an Apple product, they are so incredibly good at pulling you into an ecosystem where they have hundreds of ways to make more money, okay? And I sound kind of cynical about all this, right? And I am a little bit, okay? One of the reasons I kind of got out of the Apple ecosystem for a while is because it was so expensive to be in. Things that should have been cheap were very expensive. I felt like I was being taken advantage of for just being in the Apple ecosystem, so I left it, okay? I'm back now. But you know what? A lot of people really love this. They love the cohesiveness of this ecosystem. They pay a lot for it, but everything just works. It all works together well. It clicks, right? Apple's platforms provide a seamless, high-quality, cohesive experience. And people are willing to pay for that, okay? This is considered one of the most profitable, impressive ecosystems in history, and it belongs, no surprise, to, I think, the world's most valuable company. I think they're at like $2 trillion right now, okay? That's the power of what an ecosystem can do. You want to see another ecosystem? What is the point of an ecosystem? Why do you build it? Why does a company choose to build an ecosystem? Why does every new startup want to talk about platforms and not one-off products? Platform instead of product. What's the gain? What's the point? You can feel it, can't you? Go ahead, just say it. What's the value in building an ecosystem? All right, come on. Give me an idea. Okay, go for it.
I guess to trap their users, make it harder to get out.
Yeah, right? You're trapping your users a little bit, right? At the very least, you're incentivizing to keep doing business with you, right? Don't go to a competitor, right? Bring your needs to me and I'll solve your problems. And that's useful to them, right? You can make more money that way. Your business is more consistent that way, right? Ecosystems are incredibly powerful. Would you like to see another ecosystem that has been very powerful? EECS440.com. What do you see up here? What is this? What am I showing you right now? What do you call this? You see, when you take any of my courses or any of my friends' courses, you are very likely to discover what? What are you likely to find? What do you see in front of your face every time you go to this website? Go ahead. Yep.
Sort of other courses that I'm interested in.
Yeah, right? As soon as you take one of my courses, you're going to learn about all of them. That is an ecosystem, and it was designed to make sure that you don't go through your college career, not finding some of my courses. If you like one of my courses, chances are you'll like the others, and I want you to do that. I want my enrollments to be high. Okay, I want you to learn all of this stuff, so it's very cohesive. You're a great game developer, you're a great XR dev, but I also want to keep my enrollment up for my courses, right? Because that makes my life much, much easier, okay, and more impactful. So ecosystems come in many different forms, and they're not always about just collecting more and more money, okay? They can come in the form of cohesive courses that fit well together and advertise and work with each other as well, okay? So keep that in mind. I want to show you another ecosystem because this is not just about big companies, all right? When I talked about Dreamgate, they have this wonderful product where you can get up to 4 people playing a game, $10 a pop for 10 minutes, okay? Now, if this takes 10 minutes and there are 4 people who can play, each paying $10, so $40 in 10 minutes, what is the maximum amount of money you can earn in an hour? Anyone know? So 40 times 6. 4 times 6. So what is that? Like 12, 24, 240. Yeah? $240 an hour. That is the most this company can ever hope to make without raising prices. Okay? That is not an ecosystem. Okay? And that's not how we're going to make serious money. Okay? I want to make serious money here. Okay? How are we going to do that? Well, what this company started thinking about, what Craig started thinking about was, okay, we've got this pretty cool situation. We can make up to $240 an hour, but we need more ways to trade value with the user, okay? One of the first ways isn't about money. The nature of the game's design, the nature of everyone running around and having a good time means that it's very fun to watch this stuff happen. You can take photos. People take videos and photos of their friends playing, and then they post it online. That's free advertising. This is a cooperative multiplayer game. So if you have fun by yourself, what do you want to do? You want to go bring your friends and family in to have a great time, right? And that is implicit advertising as well. That's fantastic. But we do need a way to make more money, all right? So this was their plan. Dreamgate, the company, was going to create the Dreamgate platform. They started with a product, and that went well, but they want to grow, so they made the platform. The Dreamgate platform basically allows anyone to set up an installation like what you see here. Anyone around the world, someone in Brazil, okay, someone in Japan or China could set up this kind of thing in their mall, and Dreamgate will send you the software and updates for free. All you have to do is you have to give them a percentage of your revenue, okay? Thus, Dreamgate can run their own installations in nearby malls, but they can also make a lot of money passively by other people doing it around the world, okay? That is how you create a platform. And that is how you, these days, make big money, okay? That's why typically investors and business people really don't want to focus on products. They want to focus on how do you turn a product into a bigger ecosystem, all right, where you can solve not one problem for your users, but many, okay, at the same time. This right here, right, this printer ecosystem is so evil that the companies will do anything to prevent you from using cheap third-party ink, okay? When the ink is $35 for a little cartridge and it actually costs only a few cents to manufacture, there are third-party ink cartridges you can buy for like $1. Way better price, right? But the printer companies try and update their technology and pack it with loads of anti-third-party ink countermeasures to try and prevent you from using this cheaper source of ink. Because what happens to this ecosystem if we cross off that top ink cartridge, that $60 to $30 a month? What happens if that goes away? What does the company have to do if they can no longer sell you expensive, high-margin ink? What does the company have to do? Hey, boss, I got bad news. We just can't stop them. Everyone's using third-party ink, okay? Our finances are just tanking. Boss, what's the play? What do we have to do now? What do we have to do? We have to raise the hardware price. That's right. We have to take this lovely $100 price tag for the hardware, and now that part of our ecosystem, our shrinking ecosystem, has to support the entire thing. So it can't be $100. It has to be $700. Okay? And that means that fewer people are going to buy printers at all. They'll just go to Staples and they'll have things printed by the big companies, right? And that's going to crush our company. So you see, they are heavily incentivized to fight third-party cheap ink with everything they have, okay? Because it will end them if they fail. Okay, anyway. All right, so Apple is a $1 trillion company. That is the power of having a modern, successful ecosystem. This is a really incredible moment in history for Apple. Apple, if you recall, was very nearly bankrupt. They had to take a big loan, okay? They had to get bailed out. Did they get bailed out by the government? Who bailed them out? Who rescued Apple?
It was Microsoft.
It was Microsoft. Oh my gosh. Their arch nemesis, Microsoft, at the last moment swooped in, and bailed out Apple. So here's a photo of Steve Jobs talking to Bill basically thanking him, right, while he gnashes his teeth for bailing them out, okay? Why would Microsoft do this? This is another interesting business topic. Yeah?
I don't know. I know this only because I've heard this actually 3 separate times.
Yes, yeah,
But,
I know.
Because the government was getting other case for being a monopoly, right?
Yes, so Microsoft was facing big antitrust scrutiny. They were being investigated, and if they lost that case, they would be broken up. Microsoft would be split. So it's really bad for you if your chief rival in the market collapses, because then you're definitely a monopoly and everyone knows it. And there's a reasonable chance the government will come in and smash you up into pieces. So Microsoft bailed out their chief rival in order to look less like a monopoly. And they also gave Apple money, but they also put Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and all that, Excel, onto the Apple platform to help them out. Okay? So there you go. Very interesting. Moving into the world of XR and game dev, I want to show you an interesting example ecosystem from 1998. Has anyone ever played StarCraft? Okay, any Blizzard fans in the audience? We had people play Overwatch. Anyone like Blizzard? Got some students working there right now. This is what an ecosystem looked like in 98, okay? You would release a game like StarCraft for $50 to $60, okay? The game might receive implicit advertising through the nature of being a multiplayer game, right? It's a multiplayer game, so if you like the game, you convince your friends to buy it, that's a way to trade value. It is an ecosystem, okay? And then, after the game comes out, maybe 9 months later, if you enjoy the game, you can buy an expansion pack, which will add additional modes, additional missions, additional characters to the game. But that's it. That was the entire ecosystem of 1990s era games and software. You buy once, you play it forever until you're done. Maybe you buy the next game in a few years if you like it. Okay? Now, take the same company, the same exact company, but move it into the future. This is Blizzard in 2016. Not StarCraft, but Overwatch. Notice, despite inflation, the price of the initial game has gone down. Is that crazy? It feels a little printer-y to me, okay? They're getting you into this ecosystem and they want you in cheap, okay? Because there are other ways for Blizzard to make money on Overwatch. The initial game sale, yes, okay? But how do you launch Overwatch? How do you launch this piece of software? Anyone know? You use a service, a program called Battle.net. You open up this piece of software, Battle.net, and you have to click a few more buttons, and then that launches Overwatch. But you know what you're going to see as you navigate over to the Overwatch tab to launch the game? What might you see? You want to play Overwatch? You're launching Battle.net because that's how you launch Overwatch. But Battle.net shows you something before you can get Overwatch running. What do they show you? You got some extra money in your pocket. You're thinking about the next game you might want to buy. What are you going to see when you go to play Overwatch? Come on. What do you see? Let's go. Yes. Yes, that's right. You see and go click on Overwatch, but right next to Overwatch is this cool looking game called Diablo, right? And you've never heard of it, but it looks super cool. And now maybe you're going to buy that game instead of going to Steam, okay? Instead of buying from Valve, actually, because you like Overwatch, you're more likely to buy the next game from Blizzard or StarCraft 2 or something like that. The ecosystem is a bit bigger, okay? Now, Overwatch is a big universe, okay? You can play the game, but that's not where much of the story is. When you like the characters in Overwatch and want to learn more about them, right? Tracer, super cool, right? What's she about? You're going to read comic books. They got comic books for Overwatch. They got movies and trailers. They are so well produced and high quality, that Blizzard level of quality, that you want to get together with your friends to watch the trailers together, okay? Spoiler free, okay? There are other things. If you collect some really cool footage or do a good job at a match, you get a great highlight, you can tweet about it or put it on Facebook or wherever, TikTok, and you might be retweeted. You get a bunch of internet points, right? You get popular. Feels good. They have timed events sometimes in which you can pay money to participate, or you can get a special skin if you buy enough loot boxes. And speaking of loot boxes, they are so much of them, just everywhere, okay? And they're so cheap, right? Only $2 a pop, but you can buy them much more easily that way. And often people buy quite a few of them, all right? Look at all the ways that Blizzard has to make money in 2016. Many of them did not exist in the 90s, okay? In the 90s, you simply bought the game for $60 and that was it, the end of the story. These days, you buy the game, yes, but then there are more ways for Blizzard to keep making money off that game in the long term, okay? Question, do any of you prefer this? Or do you prefer this? This or this, okay? Who prefers the more modern, more deluxe ecosystem style business? Anyone? Okay, how many of you are a little bit more 90s? Okay, a little bit more premium, one-off purchase. You're a little bit more of that? That's me as well. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, okay? Gaming and XR are extremely expensive hobbies. Not everyone has enough money to buy the latest premium video game. But if you go to the app stores, if you go into mobile gaming, where you tend to find a lot of ecosystems like this, games with these kinds of ecosystems tend to be free to start, okay? In a way, this move to more deluxe, hairier, bigger ecosystems has made gaming accessible to audiences that in the past would never be able to afford it. Okay, so is this a bad thing? It's an interesting question, okay? Because if you go free into an ecosystem like this, it's going to be a very different experience than the premium one that was big in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, okay? I will also say that this is a much more deadly ecosystem for game developers themselves. With this ecosystem, you have one chance. You need to make all of your money back in the first week of sale. After that, no one's going to buy it, okay? What happens if you have a huge bug? What happens if you pour years of effort into this game and it just fails? The market doesn't catch on. It doesn't like it, right? What do? Well, you rush. You rush to finish the next game before you run out of money. You go bankrupt, okay? And every game takes about 2 years. So you're trying to just hang on for 2 more years and hope that one's a big hit to pay you back, okay? very nasty. A lot of studios, a lot of people suffered under this more traditional premium approach to game development, okay? With this approach, there are many more options that studios have. If they have a game that fails, often they can go back to a previous game that didn't fail, and they can add more content, more loot boxes, new modes, new characters, and they can sustain themselves long enough to fix that latest game or get the next game out, okay? As games have gotten more deluxe and in some ways more abusive in their ecosystems, game development has become a more stable career, okay? And that tension, right, is something that haunts the industry today. How much is too much? How much squeezing can the user handle? Should we do it at all? Okay? Or should we just go back to the premium model and all the risks for us associated with that? Very interesting situation, all right? But this is an ecosystem map, okay? So, I asked you this question earlier. Why do the games over here have so many loot boxes and microtransactions, so many nickel and diming things that happen after you buy the game? And then over here, these companies don't do that. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Blizzard does not have their own platform. The game must be the platform, okay? But Nintendo doesn't need to put loot boxes into their Mario games. Why? Because they have an ecosystem based around the entire Switch hardware, okay? Any game that sells on the Nintendo Switch earns Nintendo 30%, even if it's not their game. Astounding, right? Mario's job is not to sell copies of software. His job is to sell consoles, get people into the ecosystem, and then let the ecosystem do its job and make Nintendo a lot of money in licensing fees. If Mario isn't there, no one buys a Switch. And if no one buys a Switch, Nintendo can't tax everyone at 30%. That's how it is, okay? Anyone ever go to this place, the happiest place on earth, not for your wallet though? This is Disney World. This is Disneyland, okay? Anyone ever go there? Pretty cool place. A lot of really nice stuff. One really interesting thing about Disney World is that Space Mountain, one of the coolest, most expensive, most exciting rides that they have, costs the same amount of money to ride as the Teacup ride, which is one of their cheapest, least thrilling rides. It has plenty of fans, but it's not really a comparison. These both cost the same amount, okay? What makes money at a theme park? Is it Space Mountain? Is it the Teacup ride? Or is it this right here? What makes all the money at Disney's theme parks? What actually makes money inside this ecosystem? The gift shop. Merchandising, where the real money for the movie is made, okay? Space Mountain's job is not to make money. Space Mountain's job is to pull you in to the theme park. And once you're inside, the gift shop, the restaurants, the stalls, that is what makes the money, okay? And that's why ecosystems are so powerful. Take the Nintendo Switch ecosystem. Super Mario Odyssey is a very expensive game to make. It requires the best talent from around the world, okay? And I think it took them like 4 or 5 years to make this game. Very high effort. And yet, it costs the same amount of money as Mario Golf Super Rush, a cheaply made, second-party, kind of crappy golfing game from a company called Camelot, not Nintendo. Nintendo did not make this game. They're the same price. Okay? And that's, again, because Mario Odyssey gets you into the Switch ecosystem. And once you're there, this is where Nintendo actually makes all their money back. The margins on Mario Golf Super Rush are going to be way better than Super Mario Odyssey, even if Mario Odyssey will make some money by just selling copies. Its job is not to sell copies. Its job is to get you to buy a Switch. Okay? That's it. And of course, if you like these characters, you're going to buy merchandise. You might see the film. Okay? So Mario himself is, in a way, an ecosystem. Once you are a Mario fan, he has lots of ways to make money. Okay? Pretty good for a plumber. Have any of you seen a film called Spaceballs? The concept of ecosystems is seen everywhere, not just in video games or mobile game software or printer hardware or smartphones. It's also in Hollywood, okay? I want to show you this clip. Okay, making fun of that fact. Merchandising is where a lot of the money from films is made.
You're right of me. Heard of you. Who hasn't heard of yogurt?
Yogurt the wise. Yogurt the all-powerful.
Yogurt the magnificent. Please, don't make a fuss. I'm just plain yogurt. But you're the one. Yes, I am the keeper of a greater magic. A power known throughout the universe as the Force. No, the Schwartz. Schwartz. Yes, the Schwartz. But yo, what is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up the store. Come, walk this way. Take a look. We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising, merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flavor. The kids love this.
Right? And so this has been well known for a long time. With any media product, right, with hardware, with just about anything, if you can manage to create an ecosystem, not just the people watching the film, but people going and buying the character merchandise, right, then you can stand to make a lot more money and a lot more money consistently over time, right, than if you just sell the product itself, okay? You have to be careful that you don't squeeze consumers too hard or become abusive, but this is what a lot of companies will try to do. What's important is that you understand when you have walked into an ecosystem and whether it is worthwhile for you to stay there, okay? But that's the important thing. Know you're in one, know what to look for, and you'll be okay. I want to take 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back with the other critical tool to understanding why businesses do certain things. Why do big orgs do certain things? We're going to talk about value chain, okay? See you in 5 minutes. Hey.
Mustard on my shirt. So now I'm
Do you?
walking around like a schlub.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. Well, we're all programmers. Yeah, I think the exam's finished. Like, I got to... Thank you. Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to, like, really
look through it.
go through, but...
Yeah, I'm going to look through it pretty late tonight, because what I want to do is I want to print... I'm going to print one copy, and then I'm going to go through it by hand, do it, see if it works out.
I can't imagine there really...
Well, last year I had, if you recall, I had several typos that changed. In particular, that one question that had you drawing the frames really mucked that one up.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
But so we want to go through that. I feel pretty good about all the questions. I think they're about the right difficulty.
Yeah. How many questions are there? Yes.
Well, I'm not going to say that they're recorded live stream because otherwise someone might be listening and split beans, but
true.
data oriented will be well represented. But I mean that's what I said. Anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the full exam with you and John pretty soon, so you can really check it out.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. I think I will have to ask for like an expedient checking it out process because like I do want to print tonight.
I assume so.
Late.
Everyone not going to be rating them, I assume?
No, just
No,
going to be me.
What about the
Yeah,
custom
just-
features?
Custom features you all usually hit. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what everybody does for theirs. Because,
Yeah.
they had a lot of exposure and stuff.
Yeah. I think we got a really great group in image architecture.
So did you see the end of the Uber Jam?
No.
So Sai, Daniel, and I had
Oh, yeah.
DS game.
Yeah, you made a DS game. That's cool.
I was thinking because I was going
Yeah.
through it. I linked Fox City
Well,
to
yeah.
it.
I asked if like you had got Wolverine engine running on it.
Right. So what?
What was the problem? Did you try it? You just didn't try it.
No, I didn't try it because first of all, I just didn't think of it. I think I may have been able to. I don't know how I would have gotten Lua as a guest language. Maybe with like
because you have to load
a bin
files.
or something. Maybe I don't know, but because you can do it. I just
Yeah.
don't. But then the second thing
Some build systems like that basically have you like, oh, we're gonna write a custom tool to take all these files, compress them into binary, and then if your engine doesn't have the ability to find these files and load them at one time, like that's what you have to do.
So you can do. I'm sure that there exists a system like that for Lua files.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure.
there are libraries like that for
Hey,
sound.
like if worst comes to worst, you know you can do Lua do string.
Yeah.
Right? You can literally hard code, write write a Python tool to just hard code in.
The thing
a
that
bunch
makes
of
it
this
hard is I
stuff,
have to
right?
rewrite every single thing that has to do with rendering. It's not just the compiling. STL2 isn't like they don't support NDS as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So it'd really be
Like when an engine like Godot wants to support game consoles, like it's a big deal, and the community has to work pretty hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes companies make their own interoperability layer, where it's like, yes, we're the only company that can take your Godot project and actually get it running on Switch.
Yeah.
Because we're the only one that's written the compatibility layer or altered the engine to be able to.
It was a pretty cool experience.
Make
It
the
was
right
fun.
calls.
I don't know much about it, but
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I played it with Daniel. It was good. Yep. Hey.
I walked in here
Oh,
ready
you're
to
answering
study.
all my questions. You're
Yes,
doing a great job.
I
This
walked
is
in here, I was ready to study, and then I was like, wait, this is like interesting content.
yeah, it's EECS 440 extended reality for social impact right here. I teach most of the game dev and XR stuff in the CS
I also
department.
did hear about the game engine architecture.
Hell yeah.
course.
Yep. That's a good one. That might be one of my favorite to teach. We got an exam on Friday.
Yes.
Students are panicking, but it's not that hard of an exam.
Okay.
You can tell your friend that like Austin said it's easy. Actually easy peasy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's basically the students build VR and AR applications. They build a Pokemon Go clone for their mobile devices, AR.
Yes.
They build cool projects like drunken driving simulator, right? That's a final project. This is a boxing simulator game for working out. And yeah, this one's an auto translation feature, I think. You can another workout game. Yep. Anyway, yeah, it's offered every winter semester. So, yeah. 494 is the one that most people seem to hear about. It's the hard one. It's the really hard.
Oh, I did hear about
dev
that.
class.
It's a MDP, right?
Yep. Capstone. Yeah. Now, if you take any of these other courses, this 494 gets way easier because you already know Unity, you know game engines, pretty comfy, so the difficulty curve is much smoother for you. But yeah, if you ever had any questions about any of this, you can always shoot me an email. Okay. Yep. Just search Austin Yarger. You'll find my email, and you can, or you can just come up here to any of these courses, EECS440.com, and just click. Yeah, and you'll find my information right in there. Yep. There you go.
I came in here, I was like, yeah, who's this guy yapping? Like, let me do my work.
Who's this guy
I
yapping?
was like,
Yeah, it's not going to work, man. We will be quiet relatively soon because the course ends in like 20 minutes.
I have a class in a second, but I was just saying, like, and then I started like listening for a bit, and then I was like,
ooh, this is kind of cool.
this is kind of cool content.
Well, thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
It's fun when the course is more interactive.
I will definitely consider your
Oh, yeah.
ecosystem has worked on me.
Excellent. Very good. Yes, it's working.
Let's see if I can fit it in.
I have there's a hidden mini game on top here. If you get to the end of this game, first of all, it's actually multiplayer. So tell your friends to play it at the same time, and you'll see them in the game.
That's so cool.
But if you get to the very end of this game and it has like a story and everything, I'll give you a sticker if you come and find me. Okay? The main characters each have a sticker for them. But,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll
Cool.
take a look.
Cool. Very good. The game is getting more difficult over time, actually. And so it's going to get harder and harder to get these stickers, I think, as time goes on. We'll see.
It's like scarcity mindset.
A little bit, yeah. And that is another interesting business topic, but not maybe for another day. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you. And let's get back to it. So we talked about this ecosystem map. And again, the important part is that you understand when you're walking into one and that you're comfortable being in it. Okay. Companies these days do not care about products. They care about platforms because they want to get you into their ecosystem that allows them to solve more of your problems and thus make more money and do so more consistently. But value chains are another extremely interesting topic in business that can explain a lot of how and why companies do what they do. Imagine this scenario. You've got Timmy over here, and he is hungry. He's got $9. He's got $9. And if you are hungry on North Campus and you got $9, where are you going to get some food? Where are you going? Come on, let's go. Got 19 minutes. Where are we going to get some food right now? Yes. Which fast food place? Chipotle. Okay, where else are we going? What's your favorite place on North Campus to get nasty, greasy orange chicken? Panda. We're going to Panda, people. Come on. Okay, we're going to Panda. When Timmy hands that $9 to Panda, does Panda Express get to keep all $9? No, they don't. And the reason they don't is that they take in money, but they also have to send out money to do their job. In order to prepare that meal, they have to pay a supplier, let's say $2 out of that $9, in order to actually have the materials to make the meal. They also have to pay about $5 in labor. Labor is very expensive, okay, especially in the USA. And so, how much money does Panda get to keep? What is their profit? What's their profit? Engineers, arithmetic? $2. Exactly, $2. Bingo. Okay? Now, that's not bad, okay? Another thing to note is that the supplier probably has to pay farmers a bit of that $2 it gets from Panda, right? So that's not too bad. Panda is going to pocket $2 per meal. But what if that's not enough, okay? Because Panda's rival, KFC, just launched a game studio, and now Panda Express needs to make more money and fast so they can launch their rival game dev studio. Okay, they don't want to be left behind. All right? Have any of you played this game? No? Have you not? No? This game exists. I'm not kidding. Let's go. I love you, Colonel Sanders. Okay? Okay, there you go, right? The surprising thing isn't that exists. The surprising thing is that it actually has very positive reviews. Anyway, okay. So, Panda Express needs to make more money, okay? One way they can pocket more of this money, more of this chain, okay, and value flowing through it, is they can take this part of the chain, they can say, you know what? suppliers, I think we can do a better job than you're currently doing, okay? And they buy out, they use a bunch of capital, and they buy out this part of the chain, okay? Now, they're sending no money or less money down that part of the chain, and they pocket $4 per meal instead. More likely, it's going to be 3 or so. If they do a bad job replacing this part of the chain and muck it up, they might end up pocketing less money, okay? And a very bad business decision. So, let's say that you made a great game and you want to sell it. You're going to sell it. You're going to sell it for, I don't know, $60, okay? Because here comes the money, right? Timmy is over here and wants to give you $60 to buy your game, okay? Then he's not going to buy it from you. What Timmy's going to do is Timmy's going to hand it to GameStop, right? Because GameStop is where your PlayStation 4 copy is going to be, your physical retail copy is going to be, okay? GameStop's going to take their cut, aren't they? Okay? Let's say GameStop takes a quarter of it, $15. Now, GameStop sends that money onward, okay? You're way down here. That's bad news for you, okay? GameStop is going to send a portion of that money to their supplier, okay? Their supplier is going to send a portion of money to Sony because Sony has a licensing fee. They're going to take their cut, okay? By the time that $60 makes its way to you, it is only $15. And that's awful. Think of how terrible this is. You put in years, right? Blood, sweat, and tears to make this game. And you're only getting 1/4 of its actual worth. That's crazy, all right? This value chain, a chain through which value flows, collecting at different middlemen, this stinks. Can you think of a better one? Can we cut some of these guys out? Because they're not making the game, okay? They are not critical here. If they're not critical, can we cut them out? Digital, absolutely. This is physical retail, and we might be able to make more money if we can sell our game digitally online, okay? And so there's this service called Steam. If Timmy gives $60 to a gay Ben, all right, at Steam, Steam is going to take their cut as well, but only Steam will do so. And then you go from making $15 per copy to making more like $45. Amazing, right? One of these is way better for you than the other, okay? And this isn't just about making more money so we can buy yachts or something, okay? If you can make 3 times as much money per sale, that means you only have to sell 1/3 of the copies. What does that mean? That means that you can be more artistic. You don't have to target the mass audience anymore. You can do a weird game idea because you don't need to sell as many copies anymore. So this isn't just about making more money. This is also, in a very real sense, about artistic freedom, your freedom to make the kind of product you want, okay? If you choose a right path through the chain. Well, this is pretty good. But what can we do if we want to keep all of the money? I don't want to let anyone take any of my money. The consumer's going to hand me the $60. Now, I have to pay the government taxes, income taxes, sales tax to the state of Michigan. But beyond that, I'm never going to be able to get rid of that, okay, unless I move. So what can I do if I want to get all $60? Distribute it ourselves. What if we owned Steam? What if we had our own Steam? What if we were Electronic Arts and we had the muscle, we have the capital to build a rival to Steam? Okay? We're going to call it Origin. And in this situation, when $60 from Timmy flows into our distribution platform, $60 flows to us. Okay? Right out. What's even better than us using this route through the value chain, what can we do if other people will go through this part of the value chain? We're EA, but maybe we can convince Microsoft Ubisoft to sell their games through Origin. What can we do if we succeed? So instead of going through Steam, Ubisoft, with all their games, their Assassin's Creed, their Ghost Recon, are now going through our platform instead. What can we now do? How can we make some serious money without doing anything? What do we do? Come on, let's go. Not that much time. We're going to tax it. We're going to put a 30% tax on. The thing that Steam was doing to us, we will now do to other people. We'll make lots of money. Okay? Maybe we'd be very nice and we don't make it a 30% cut, we make it a 20%. Epic, I think, has a 10% on their Epic Game Store. Okay? And that's really, really incredible. Okay? So, answer me this. What happened to GameStop? Okay? What happened to GameStop? This is where they used to be in the value chain. But nowadays, everyone, players, but also developers, really wish that all the money was flowing through Steam or through their own platform. Okay? What happens to GameStop as this part of the chain withers and dries up and dies? What happens to them? They're in big trouble. Okay? They got to figure out some other way to make money. They got to sell plushies. They got to sell comic books. Whatever dumb stuff they're currently doing, okay? I'm pretty sure it's not working. They're going to get into NFTs and blockchain stuff, okay? and then eventually they're going to go away. They're going to declare bankruptcy. They'll fold, and their retail space, their IP, will be given to someone who might be able to use them a bit better, okay? So, right, this is what happens when you fall out of the value chain. This is what happened to GameStop. Now, this is 2019 or so. If you recall, there was a big short squeeze that made their stock price go way back up. But their stock price, I'm pretty sure, has fallen back to earth and is kind of at death's door. Okay, this is not something that is rare. Okay, if you look at the stock charts for Macy's, if you look at Sears stock chart, this one is now at 0, by the way. If you look at Kroger, okay. What are all of these businesses struggling with right now? They got cut out of their own value chain. Who did this to them? How do you buy things these days? Where do you go to shop? Tell me right now. Yes? Amazon.com. Oh my gosh, Amazon.com. The problem that these companies faced is that the only value they really provide is being a physical retail shop to take someone else's product and sell them to you. But those people who made the product can sell directly to the customer, bypassing these companies if they just use Amazon. And why wouldn't you? The margins are going to probably be better. Okay, it's more convenient for the user. Fewer people are going to stores like Macy's than they did in the past. Sears is dead. They're gone, wiped out, okay? And so what happened is that these companies got cut out of the value chain. Do you know what happened to Walmart? Walmart, you'd expect to look a lot like these, right? Amazon's coming and eating their business. But Amazon had a problem with Walmart. Walmart was exceptionally smart. You know what they did? When they saw Amazon coming, they purchased Amazon's rival. I think it was a company called Jet.com. And Walmart raced as fast as they could to become Amazon before Amazon could become Walmart. So now you can buy Walmart stuff easily online. A lot of people do every day. And you can go to the nearest Walmart center to pick it up yourself, or you can have it delivered with kind of an Amazon Prime-like service, okay? And so Walmart actually, I think, is doing very fine. No one's really worried about them right now. Their stock seems okay. Does anyone remember Blockbuster? Right? Blockbuster was a famous company that would allow you to rent films and games. Film studios and game studios hated Blockbuster's guts. Why? Well, what would happen? A game studio would spend years, countless hours, and tons of money making a wonderful new game. Blockbuster would purchase one copy of this game and then rent it out 1,000 times. Which company makes thousands and thousands of dollars? Blockbuster or the game studio who made the game? Blockbuster is the one who makes all the money off the hard work of the game studio. That is a bad situation. Game studios despise this with all of their heart. And so what do? They start making their games harder. Because that, in that era, is how you make games longer. And if you can make your game long enough, you can defeat the economic model of Blockbuster. If a player has to rent it several times, they might as well buy it. And if they buy it, they're buying it from you and not Blockbuster. Okay? Anyway, Blockbuster made its money off of renting and sending users games and film. They would do this physically, and after a few days, you had to return the film or return the game. Now, the internet was becoming seriously powerful around this time, and more companies were distributing content via the internet, straight to your house. You don't have to go to the store, and you can just enjoy it as much as you want, okay? Right? Blockbuster is the last Blockbuster. This Blockbuster right here is actually the last one that exists. The overall company went bankrupt not long ago, and now this final Blockbuster exists as more of a museum than anything else. You can rent tours in it. You can hold birthday parties in the last Blockbuster on Earth. It's amazing, okay? This was a company that was founded in the mid-'80s. At its peak, it had 85,000 employees, okay? It was a big deal. Blockbuster was massive. However, their place in the value chain was far worse than they could have ever imagined, okay? Because eventually, people stopped caring about what Blockbuster did. Blockbuster made one contribution to society, and that was providing cheap physical versions of films and games. That's it. That's all they did. They didn't make the games themselves. They didn't make the films themselves. And so they were a middleman. Their place in the value chain was very, very vulnerable. A company one day showed up with some cool new technology. They have the ability to send you a film digitally over the internet. Okay? They'll rent it to you. In fact, they'll ask for a monthly subscription fee and you can watch it as long as you want. What company was this? A very famous company today. Netflix. Blockbuster had the chance to purchase Netflix, become Netflix, but they decided no. They decided that they were going to make their own version of Netflix and beat this tiny company, right? They're the big, powerful, wise company, established they can make this service. Netflix, you're nothing, right? Well, Blockbuster is not a technology company. They're a sales company. They're a retail company. They don't really have great technology teams. So they hired an external team to make their Netflix killer. Do you know what company they hired to make their version of Netflix? They hired a company named Enron. And if you know anything about business history, I don't have to say anything more. Okay, Enron was basically a fraudulent company. It was a weird energy-based conglomerate that has tons of books cooked, was losing money hand over fist, completely incompetent, and they folded. They fell apart. And when Enron fell apart, so too did Blockbuster's hope of defeating Netflix. And thus, Blockbuster slowly lost relevance. They were cut out of their own value chain by a new startup, and they were defeated. They were not able to move to a new part of the chain. They were not able to keep their branch of the chain alive, and they were gone quickly. So the takeaway here is that Blockbuster didn't actually do something of value. As time went on, as new technologies arrived, there were ways to bypass them. And the company just lost its meaning, lost its purpose, okay? And so they were cut out and destroyed, okay? They didn't produce the content, all right? And so they were very, very vulnerable. They just provide distribution, okay? And so this is what you should keep in mind when it comes to value chains. This relates more to more than just companies fighting each other, okay? when you go to industry, you'd better be careful what team you join. I will tell you, if you join Amazon, there's a very big difference between going on to the Amazon Alexa team and the Amazon Web Services team. One of these teams makes money hand over fist, and the other team has never made a profit. That other team is shrinking by double digits, right? Every quarter or so. Layoffs, no one cares about Amazon Alexa. Jeff Bezos, that loved Amazon Alexa, is gone now from the company, okay? No matter whether you show up in a corporation or at a graduate school, or you are creating a startup in a competitive market, you need to know, where are you in the value chain? What do you do that is actually valuable to people? And will the future change that? Okay? Will new competitors with new technologies change that? Put you at risk of being cut out of the chain? If that's the case, you need to hop. Okay? When Jeff Bezos leaves Amazon and Amazon Alexa has never made a profit, if you're smart, if you're paying attention, you know what to do. You need to transfer to another team, and you need to do it soon. Okay? Otherwise, you might be cut out when Amazon Alexa gets cut out, okay? So that's how it goes. The takeaway, all right? Businesses and big organizations like universities, laboratories, even sometimes people, do interesting, strange things, okay? When you ask yourself, why did the loot boxes and microtransactions appear? Why is gaming so different than it used to be? Why did EA try to create Origin to rival Steam? Why did they bother? Right? Why is GameStop probably not going to be here in 5 years? All of these business questions, many of them, can be answered with those two things. Ecosystem map, value chain. None of them are complex in the slightest, but they are extremely useful devices to get you thinking on the right topics and in the right way. Okay? If you enjoy thinking about big companies, companies like Chuck E. Cheese, ESPN, all these classic brands and franchises, some of them have risen and stayed on top. Some of them have crashed and burned. There's a phenomenal YouTube channel called Company Man that goes into the history of these companies and kind of chronicles what mistakes did they make, what decisions did they make, what caused them to rise, and what is causing them to fall. Okay? And Blockbuster appears everywhere. You can find no end of fantastic documentaries on YouTube talking about how Blockbuster failed. Okay? And so, please keep these business topics in mind. It will be important for your future careers. And if you make good decisions, you will have a very stable situation for a very long time. Okay? Okay, everyone. I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. Please look for more feedback from the team, probably coming Tuesday night, okay? Good luck on your Project 3s, and I'll see you later. Office hours from 6 to 8 p.m. right here tonight, okay? See you then. Okay, everyone online, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.